Well, good evening. The faithful few, I think, as far as a Saturday evening live stream. We haven't done live streams in the evening for a very, 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 very long time. And I know that we're a vintage sewing machine type YouTube channel, primarily vintage machines, antique machines. But once in a while, I do want to show you a machine that's coming to the workshop. Um, and it's not vintage, clearly. You see a little screen on there and everything. It gives it away right away that this is a contemporary type machine. It's designed for lightweight type duty. So we're not going to be doing any leather sewing on this machine at all tonight. It's not built for it. It's not built to endure that type of stress that our vintage machines are typically able to take on very easily. This is more of a embroidery sewing lightweight type machine. And we're going to be trying a couple of different things on it. I'm going to involve all of you in choosing stitches also. It's got quite a few stitches to pick from. So I think it'll be kind of fun to see how this machine sews with these built-in patterns. It's also got the capability as well to take cards. There's special embroidery cards that Brothers design that you can plug into the machine over here. And you can also hook up special cabling to it as well. So you can connect your computer. You go to the Brothers site, you download different embroidery type stitch patterns, and then you can upload them to your computer, just like you would anything else that you would connect to a computer. You can just basically copy it into here, store it in the machine, and then you can sew different patterns that Brother offers that this LB-6800 will support. So kind of nice. It gives you a little bit of a different dimension to the sewing. Again, lightweight. It's not a, roll up your sleeves and let's hit it hard and heavy. It's going to be more of a ornamental type sewing machine that you would use. And this one came by way of Joanne's. Joanne had a customer come in, and basically the customer said, it's skipping stitches no matter what I do. It's breaking thread. The feed dogs are stuck in the down position. And a couple more things that Janice from just on the fringe of Michigan, I said in some of the reels from Michigan, she corrected me today when I told her that I was going to be live streaming it tonight so she could pick it up either tomorrow or first thing Monday morning. She's kind of in the middle of a project and wants to get this machine back. She said, I'm not really living in Michigan. She said, we're right on the border of Menominee, Michigan, but we're technically in Marinette. Marinette is where Joanne's is located. Joanne, I always want to say Joanne Fabrics, but it's Joanne's now because they're all about crafty this, that, and the other thing, and they're not limiting themselves to fabric anymore. They certainly have a wide array of fabrics to pick from, but they're focusing more so on, a wider spectrum, draw a bigger population of customers in that are interested in a wide scope of crafts, if that makes sense. So she came in, she was kind of frustrated and said, I've had this machine for 6 years. And Susie and I were talking earlier today. Emma and I were talking as well. And I mentioned to Susie in specific, I said, hey, we might be trying to pull off a live stream this evening. What do you think? Should we try it tonight? Should we try it tomorrow? I said the same thing to Emma. And they said, you know what? Why don't we see if we get a different audience? Why don't we see if we can draw some other folks in and introduce them to the family, to the Cow Country family, and see what happens. It's never about numbers. We love it when we have a big group of people and there's all kinds of synergy going on, and there's chats and discussion and sharing and all these different dynamics that are going on in the live stream. It's kind of exciting for the for the moderating team, for the leadership team, because they have a chance to engage a variety of different people, answer some questions, just a variety of blah, blah, blah. But, you never know. You never know if we're going to have a larger group, a smaller group, new folks, returning folks. We just don't know, especially when we decide to pull an unannounced evening live stream. So yeah, it's a roll of the dice, isn't it? But that's okay. That's okay. We're going to give it a go and see who shows up and what kind of interaction we have going on. So the other thing I want to share with you is my eyes, I'm not going to break into song and sing my eyes have seen the glory of the Lord. That's a great song. But I, my eyes have been opened by Alex from California. Alex and his wife from California. Again, they are the couple out in Southern California. I believe it's technically Southern Cal, not too far from Hollywood and all that kind of, neat part of the country out there. Uh, but they introduced me to Wawak. And so I've been getting emails now from Wawak, and they've been running sales at Wawak. And some of you are saying, what's a Wawak? I'll let Alex explain because Alex is in the live stream. I saw that in the chat, and he can explain what Wawak is. But they've been around for a long, long time, and they run some cool sales, some really, really good sales on needles. And I clicked on one of their emails. Usually I'll just kind of archive it, but I clicked on it. I was curious. And all of a sudden I'm scrolling down the different needles and I recognize all the needles. I'm thinking, yeah, I'm a smart guy. I know something about needles. I know a little something about needles. And then all of a sudden I see some needles in their sale column and I'm like, wait a second. I don't know what those are. I don't know what those are. And so I said to myself, I'm going to order those so I can potentially introduce them to the family, introduce them to the audience, and maybe even give some away so that someone else can try them and see what they think of them. And this is what I bought. It's not just a universal needle, it's a super universal needle. And they look something like this. Now, I had never had in front of me in any way, shape, or form something called super anything, unless it's Super Mario. I've never had super anything on this channel before, but we're going to be trying to sew with this LB-6800, and we're going to be using a super duper universal needle tonight. What makes it super? It's supposed to be non-stick or something like that. It's supposed to give you, I'll flip it around and kind of show you what it shows on the back. Their equivalent of a blah, blah, blah. See if we can get it to focus. It's saying, nah, no, I don't think I'm not going to focus on that for whatever reason. But it's supposed to be a super universal because and I'll read what it says, with anti-adhesive coating and very slick surface, special geometry according to industrial standards. I'm going to say that again because I just read it and I missed most of what I just said. But it says it's got a special anti-adhesive coating and very slick surface, special geometry according to industrial standards. I have no idea what that means other than stuff doesn't stick to it. Stuff doesn't stick to it, and it's special. Yeah, it's a special needle, and we're going to be trying it for the very first time on this channel tonight. The very first time on this channel tonight. And it's even different in color. If you look at it really close, I'll kind of pull this down. It's kind of a charcoal color. They coated it with some sort of a charcoal non-stick type surface. I don't know. Maybe we could use it in the kitchen. Maybe we could use this in the kitchen because of this special coating that's on it. I have no idea, but I got it by way of Wawak, and they're on sale maybe still today. They were only like $2 and something per pack. I think it was like $2.49, $2.69. I mean, we're talking Walmart prices for buying the equivalent of the Hello Kitty needles, but it's a Schmetz needle and it's a super duper universal. Yeah, I'm going to get a nasty no from the Schmetz people that follow us. They're going to say, don't put duper in there. There's no duper. There's no pooper scooper. It's only a super universal natal, blah, blah, blah needle that we're going to be trying out tonight. Anyway, if someone wants to try to win a pack of these, I bought a bunch of them. I've got size 90. I've got size 100. Size 90 is the equivalent of a size 14 needle. I've got size 100, which is the equivalent of a size 16 needle. And I'll give you a choice of either one, but I'm going to put the leadership team on the spot. I'm just going to do it. And then they can send me some scalding text messages after the live stream and say, why did you do that? We don't like to be put on the spot. We don't like it. But I'm going to do it anyway because I love Susie. I love Emma. I love Christine. I love Bill. I love all of my leadership team members. And I know that they are capable and up to the task. So I'm going to let them decide how they're going to give one of these packets away tonight. How they're going to give it away, I don't know. Maybe it'll be a special question. Maybe it'll be, I don't know. I got no idea. But, maybe you can look up some details about this computer capable model LB-6800. Maybe the leadership team member can Google it real quick and pull up some fun facts about this model and then throw them out there. And whoever, can post the answer first, or maybe the leadership team will say, no, don't post it. You got to text it to Scott. You got to send it by way of text to Scott, and then he'll read it. I have no idea. And I already got a scalding text message from one of the leadership team members saying, why did you do this? Why? Yes, we're going to open the hats tonight too. I just got a text from Susie. She sent me a big box of some new hats that she came up with. And we're going to be giving away a hat as well. Maybe whoever's willing to take on this impromptu contest where you can win a pack of these brand new super universal needles that are coated with non-stick surface, blah, blah, blah. So you can sew the stickiest of materials or whatever. And these needles are designed to be so slickery. They're like a politician. They're so slickery. They're like a politician. Pretty much nothing will stick to these needles. Nothing's going to stick to them. I'm already hearing Schmetz cringing in the background saying, Scott, don't say, okay, all right. It's like Windex or one of those other things you see on TV. Virtually nothing will stick to these needles. Plus they're universal, so you can sew a wide array of sticky stuff, and they're gonna get the job done. They're just gonna get it done. I hope they do, because I just put one in this machine and I really didn't test it. So I'm hoping they'll do almost anything. Yeah, they're super. Why wouldn't they? They're super duper. Yeah, there I go with a duper again. So anyway, I'll leave it up to leadership team what question they want to ask, if they want you to post it in the live chat or if they want you to text it to me. I'll leave it up to, I only saw Emma and Susie, so I'll leave it up to them to decide how they want to frame this impromptu contest. And it doesn't have to happen right away, but sometime during the course of this live stream, you'll have a chance to win one of Susie's hats and also a pack of these brand new super universal blah 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 things that are geometrically engineered to industrial standards. Wow, I want one myself. Hey, I've got one. Cool. So any rate, yeah, let's give one of these away, and then let's also give one of Susie's hats away. And I'll open that box that she sent me from Minnesota in just a little bit, but we're going to do kind of a quick little walk around this machine, and I'll show you some of the stuff on it. Yeah. So a nice LED screen. It's pretty doggone easy to read it, I think. It's got adjustable brightness as well. Get a little bit closer to it here. It's got adjustable brightness as well. It seems to like it further from a distance, doesn't it? Yeah, if I get too close to this LED screen, the camera's going to do weird things. So we'll stay a distance back a little bit. But these are all the built-in stitches right here. And yes, some of them are buttonholes. Don't even ask for a buttonhole. You know why? Because it requires a special buttonhole attachment. And the owner of this, Janice, didn't give it to me. So I couldn't do a buttonhole even if I wanted to, which I don't. But I'll show you some of the buttonholes it has built in nonetheless. And also some of the stitches that you'll be able to pick tonight during the live stream. And then I'll go ahead and sew them using Janice's machine. Yeah. So yeah, I think it says it right down around here, like 70, what is it? 70 built-in embroidery designs, 120 frame pattern combinations, 98 stitch functions, 67 built-in sewing stitches. We're not even going to touch the surface of what this Brother LB-6800 can do tonight. We're not even going to touch the surface. It's got all kinds of fancy stuff built into it. Plus, if you take off this little free arm thingy right over here, see if I can do it. See if I can do it. I did it off camera. Come on, I should be able to do it again, for goodness sakes. I just lift it up on the left side. All right, I'm going to have to Google this. I did it before, I really did. Any rate, this comes off to reveal a free arm. It's just lifting the left side. I know I did this before, but anyway, you just lift the left side and all of a sudden you've got a free arm as well. It doesn't have any compartment in there to store stuff like gumball or other important things like that for sewing projects, but this just comes off. I know it comes off. I'll do it during the live stream. I'll figure it out by hook or crook and we'll get this sucker off. But it's got a free arm function as well. It's not a let me just say this as a reasonable criticism of this LB-6800. Unlike some of our vintage machines like the vintage Elnas, the Husqvarnas, and some of the other machines that I've shown recently, the Lotus as well that we showed, the Lotus 1000, this has a really, really wide free arm. So it's not really practical for smaller cuffs or areas where you're going to have to try to really fit the machine into a tight space. This isn't going to be the ideal machine for that. It's going to have a really wide free arm. If I can ever show you the free arm by taking this off. Yeah, I know it comes off because I had it off. But a number of other features as well. The LED screen, like I said, it's got a number of built-in features like a mirror function where you can take a stitch and you can do a mirror image of it by just touching a button. So it'll basically do a mirror image of the same stitch that you just sewed. It's got, you can lock in the auto cutting function, the auto reverse function, just all kinds of things. It's got a setting area as well. And again, I don't know if we're going to be able to see this with the camera because this camera does not like LED at all. But if we're able to see it on the LED screen, you're able to go into a setting function right here and set certain defaults like, when you get done sewing a stitch line, do you want the needle to stay in the down position so you can rotate the material, or do you want it to be in the up position? It's just a touch of the button, and you can do that very easily. Also, with the width control, you can set the width control so you can adjust it otherwise, other than just adjusting it on the screen. It's a real easy function on it. What else? All kinds of doodads, all kinds of bells and whistles that this machine has built into it. And again, I already showed you in the earlier part of the live stream, you can get a Brother card, an embroidery card, and slide it in here as well and do some built-in embroidery stitching. And then it's got internal memory as well. So you can save some of those stitch patterns inside of the machine. So then, either downloading it from their website or otherwise, because this will connect to a computer and you can save these right to the machine. And that way you don't have to keep going back and forth to that computer. It'll be stored in your machine at that point. That's what I meant to say. And again, I don't know how close I can get, and the camera will be nice to us, but you can scroll between different screens very easily. Right now we're in the straight stitch realm, and it gives you a left, a right needle position, a center needle position that you can scroll through, and you can look at all the different zigzags, 3-point zigzags, decorative type stitches that it has, embroidery stitches, and just keep clicking through and clicking through and clicking through. And it goes on and on and on forever almost, as far as the number of stitch patterns you can choose. And I'll give you a close up of this. Matter of fact, I'll probably take a picture with my phone and then I can hold it up and show you the different options that you could pick from this evening. With the exception of buttonholes. I'm not going to do any buttonholes because I don't have the right foot anyway. I don't have the right foot. So let me see if I can get a picture of this, and then we can, I'll hold this up to the camera and you can have an opportunity to pick some stitches as well. Okay, I just took a picture of it, so we'll be able to look at that without dealing with an LED screen or anything like that. What else? This is going to be feeding thread sideways rather than have a vertical spool, which is fine and dandy. And always make sure, I've said this in other live streams, always make sure that you have a spool cover that's going to be larger than the spool of thread itself, so that that thread will feed over the top of this and not get snagged on the edge of the spool of thread. There's all kinds of little notches and other rough spots on there, and this will make sure that you get nice even feed. Threading the machine coming off of here, you go through this thread guide right here. You kind of snap it in, and you come to this position too. It's labeled, very nicely labeled, so it's really easy to thread this machine. You kind of come down this little track right here, and then when you come down this little track, you're going to come down around the bottom of this this take-up spring, which is kind of hidden in here. You then come up through here. You just draw the thread to the rear, and then it's going to go right through that take-up arm. Bring it back down again. There's a thread guide. Where is it? There's a thread guide kind of here. Yeah, there's a thread guide right here just above the needle. And you have to kind of draw it in from the right so it's centered on the needle then. And then you're going to be threading this this super universal needle. You're going to be threading this super universal needle from front to back. And it's got a quick little release on the presser foot attachment as well on the back of the presser foot bar. So you can change these out very, very quickly and go from one presser foot attachment to another. It's also got an auto needle threader that drops down. You can see me doing that right there. I don't use auto needle threaders. Some people love them, but I'm not into that. Kind of like I'm not into buttonholes. So, but it's there if you want it, if you need it. Also, you don't need a foot controller on this LB-6800 either. You can use this to start and stop the machine. This little button right here. It will prompt you if you go to hit it. It'll prompt you to unplug the foot controller. And then here you've got reverse. You've got needle up, needle down, and you've got an auto cutter. The auto cutters on these LB-6800s, I'm just going to be honest, and no offense to Brother USA. I didn't share this with the leadership team. Brother USA is also following us on Facebook now. I think they have like 138,000 followers or something like that, and we're one of them. Or we're one of the people that they're following is what I meant to say. But this auto cutter it's not really reliable. I'm just being honest. And it has a tendency to break. I read that online. A lot of people are having trouble with these and they're breaking. But the good news is Brother gave us a backup plan. Thank God. They gave us a backup plan. And I'll just show that to you real quick. It's a manual cutter right here. You just draw the thread over the top of that. It's razor sharp. You know, after you get done stitching a line, just shoop, cut it. Unless you've got these really cool clippers that Alex and his wife sent me from California from Wawak. So if you don't have these, you just draw the thread and you can cut it right there very easily. What else on the front of the machine? Now, I'm not going to be going into this, covering every aspect of it because, I don't have the intimacy with the machine that obviously Janice does. Janice, by the way, I don't know if I shared this with you. I think I did. But she bought this brand new at a place that we wouldn't expect sewing machines to typically be offered. She bought it at Sam's Club. She bought it at Sam's Club 6 years ago. And it's been serving her faithfully until it started skipping stitches and having a bunch of other issues going on with it. And then she went to Joann's over in Marinette, and they said, go to Scott, go to Oconto. And so that's how this ended up landing here. But yeah, I mean, I never thought of Sam's Club. Maybe some of you are saying, duh, yeah, Sam's Club sells all kinds of sewing machines. But I used to have a Sam's Club membership, and I walked all the aisles. I tried all the samples, and I never saw anybody set up there with a Brother machine like this saying, hey, buy a Brother sewing machine at Sam's Club. I just never did. But maybe it's a thing. Maybe it was a thing 6 years ago. So, and then you also have speed adjuster here on the front. You can see that right there. If you're a tortoise like I am, when you're using a machine that you're not intimately familiar with, then you're going to have it over here. If you're Janice and you know this machine and you've had it for 6 years, you're probably going to be over here racing like a rabbit. But it's nice to have it right on the front of the machine, easy to access it, and easy to adjust the speed depending on what you're doing. What else? I think that's about it. I can show you bobbin winding real quick. Not actually winding it, but I'll show you how to do it. Unfortunately, there's not, from what I can see at least, there's not an auxiliary spool pin for winding a bobbin, which makes it a little bit less convenient, I think. But maybe you could have an auxiliary one like this one back here and just, wind a bobbin off of something like that. But when you're winding a bobbin, you're going to most likely come off of this spool. You can go through this thread guide, the same one that we're using when we're operating the machine. And then you kind of come around this tensioner clockwise, come back to the spool, and then you just engage it when you're winding. It'll tell you almost straight away that you're winding a bobbin, and then this should automatically disengage it. When I wound a bobbin earlier, it didn't do a really good job because there's a lot of pressure against here. When it's engaged, it wasn't enough to disengage it, so I just pushed it back when I was done, and it worked fine. It worked fine. And that'll automatically disengage the clutch. There's no clutch disengagement over here. It's all part of this function right up here. What else did I miss? I think that's about it. That's about it as far as this machine. Yeah. I am determined to try to get this little free arm off. There we go. See that? This sucker, when it locks on, it's dead serious about locking on. It just is. And there's another plug-in over here. This can actually, right now it's set up as a sewing embroidery machine, but there's also a plug-in point right here. I'll get real close to it. There's also a plug-in point right here. If you Google this machine, there's a whole embroidery doodad thing that you can attach to this machine, and you can have these huge embroidery hoops and all kinds of fancy stuff for really fancy embroidery type functions with this machine. I don't know if Janice has that back at her place, on the border of Michigan or not, but you can buy a special setup that will mount to this machine, and then you plug it in here by taking this thing off. Hopefully you're able to get it off easier than I was. And then you can do even more embroidery type fancy hoop this and hoop that. And obviously you're going to be hooping this and hooping that. You want to have these super universal needles to do that with, because these are hoop friendly, apparently. I have no idea. But at any rate, yeah. So yeah, there's all kinds of additional things that you can add to this 6800, this LB-6800, and even have more bells and whistles than you do already. But yeah, see if I can get this on easier than I could get it off. But you see how wide that free arm is. When you look at some of our vintage machines, they're very, very narrow, and you can, children's cuffs and other things like that. It's not a big deal. Good luck doing it on this machine. It's so wide. It's really, really super wide. I'll tell you how wide it is. Almost 4 inches. It's almost 4 inches across here. So yeah, it makes it a little bit more challenging, doesn't it, to try to fit something really, really small on there. But at any rate, it's still a free arm, right? It's still a free arm. Yeah. See if I can get this sucker back on now. Maybe. Maybe not. Yes. Ha ha. See that? You never give up. Never give up. So yeah, I mean it's a cool little machine. It's a cool little machine. And I was talking offline with Susie a little bit, and she said, "Hey, tell me a little bit about the machine. Is it heavy duty? No. Is it built like a vintage machine? No. But can you use it under light to almost medium level type sewing weight and still get it to last longer than some of the contemporary machines that are, literally disposable machines that'll last you 6 months to a year? And no offense to any of those folks, any of those manufacturers that are selling those machines at different venues, but a lot of those contemporary machines, if you try to use them under anything above light sewing, you're going to probably kill them in about 6 months to a year. I'm just being honest. This one's built a little bit better than that, but again, it's a light duty machine. It's a light duty machine. You don't want to be sewing saddle grade leather and protected full grain leather and other stuff like that with this machine. If you saw any of those reels I posted on Facebook, there's probably 4 different sets of spindle type gears on this machine that are plastic. They're not Teflon, they're plastic. And so right away, when you've got plastic gears on any sewing machine, you just want to recognize right away it's a light duty machine. But you can still have a lot of fun with it. You can still have a lot of fun with the machine. A lot of fun. All right, let me say hello to everybody real quick, and then we'll try some sewing on this machine and see what we think of the stitch quality. See what we think of what this super universal needle does. And I don't know if Candido from New York is also with us. And so the leaders can decide how they're going to give a pack of these away. And again, you can either have a size 9014, or you can have a size 116, 100/16. So a size 16 super universal needle, or a size 14 super universal needle. And I'm going to look at the live chat. I'll just kind of scroll down real quick to say hello to everybody. Has anyone heard of these before? Has anyone used these before? Because when I was on the WAWAC, sale, blah, 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 I looked at these and I was like, wow, I've never heard of a super universal needle before. Never have. Maybe you have. Maybe you have. All right. What do we have here? I think that sounds like the notification for Susie from Minnesota. Let's see what we have here. Oh, yeah. So Susie just sent me a picture of this arm attachment. I'll just call it kind of like an embroidery. It's like an additional embroidery extension of the machine that's going to give you more embroidery capabilities with this LB-6800. And I'll show you what Susie sent me. You know what? I won't, because it's kind of grainy look. I'll show you what Susie sent, but it's kind of grainy. It's not a super clear image, but it kind of goes on the machine like this. You can see that. And then you can see by plugging this thing into the machine, it's going to move that hoop around as you're stitching, as you've seen on other embroidery machines. It's going to kind of power up your machine and give you the hoop function. It's going to be moving the hoop around like you see on some of the really, really big scale type embroidery machines. It just adds another dimension to the machine, doesn't it? We're going to be in a fixed position doing some of our embroidery stitching tonight. This hoop attachment thingy, whaty-cally, is going to give you more capabilities than we're going to be watching on this live stream tonight. And I have no idea how much this attachment is. Maybe Susie can type in the live chat, or Emma can type in the live chat, or Candido can type in the live chat. If you buy this new fancy addition that you can put on this machine, what are we talking? Is it hundreds of dollars? Is it less? Is it more? I have no idea. But it'd be kind of cool to have that addition to build onto this machine. Yeah. Okay. All right. Let me see what we got here. Let me greet some folks real quick and we will move on. Let's see. So I'm scrolling all the way up. Of course, Susie was the first in the classroom. Susie from Minnesota. So when Susie arrives, she's like, okay, where's everybody else? Why are all of you late? Why are all of you late? Because I'm already here and you're not. But Susie is so cute. She actually will be in the live chat even before I click go live. So we're not even officially live yet. And Susie's already in the live chat saying, what's up? I don't think she says, what's up? But she might. Or, yo, what's up? No, that's New York. That's Candido. But you know what? It's just great to have that level of enthusiasm and dedication, really, from all of my leaders. All of my leaders are wired that way. They're all wired that way. I love it. All right. So hello to Susie from Minnesota. Hello to Emma. Hello to Candido out in New York. And Candido is especially dedicated because it's an hour later on the East Coast. Well, it is in Florida too for Emma. It's an hour later in Florida as well. So it's already going on. Jiminy Crickets is going on 9 o'clock. Going on 9 o'clock on the East Coast. Also, hello to Alex out in California, much earlier out in California. But again, people are busy on Saturdays, right? They're busy. And it's great to have, you guys are seeing nothing right now because I had the camera like pointing at the carpet. I have no idea what I was thinking. I'll turn it so you can kind of check out this machine while I'm blah, blah, blah. Okay. So yeah, hello to Alex and hello to who else? Who else do we have? Oh, hello to Sarah Wimmers. Hello to Sarah. Good to have Sarah here. See if we have anyone else. And we also have a brand new, at least brand new to me, but the leadership team member might be looking at it and go, no, we've seen that before. But we have a visitor with us tonight with a screen name JCSV, I think it is. JCSV. So great to have you here as well. And if you want to share your first name so that we don't have to keep saying JCSV, that would be super cool. You know, maybe your name is Ben or Betty or Bubba or whoever. I'm feeling, I was going to say I'm feeling illiterate, but I'm feeling like alliteration tonight. So I was doing all the B's I could come up with very spontaneously. But it's great to have you here. It truly is. And we hope that you'll feel comfortable. Hope you feel like you can, you know, join the family right away. There's no induction ceremony. There's not a secret handshake or anything like that. We're just glad you're here. JCSV. Yeah. Who else? Who else do we have? I think that might be it. Yeah, that's it. So, yeah, it's great to have everyone here. And again, this wasn't announced. We just kind of jumped into it. And, yeah. So let's check this thing out. Let's check this machine out. Before I officially sew with it, let me ask you all in the live chat, where do you think this machine was made? Again, it was bought brand new by Janice. And again, she and her family are right on the edge of Michigan. They're in Wisconsin, but they're right on the edge of Michigan. So they're kind of almost in the UP area, but just on the outside of it. She bought this brand new at Sam's Club 6 years ago. Where do you think this machine was made? And the second question is, how big of a motor do you think this machine has? If any of you do Facebook and you saw the reels that I posted as I was digging through this machine that only recently went to a sew and vac and got a full service. And yet when I showed you the inside of this machine, it looked like a pig pen. It was just utterly disgusting. And I did show the motor, which is a really, really micro-sized motor on this machine. It's probably only about this big. It's a teeny tiny little motor on this LB-6800. It's really, really small, but it's surprisingly strong. It's surprisingly strong, at least by the amperage rating on the back of the machine. Surprisingly strong. So what do you think? How big of a motor? Where was this machine made? Where was it made? How big of a motor? Or if there's anyone in the live stream right now that's maybe sitting in the shadows and they're over in Europe, as many times we have people from Europe joining us on these live streams, I will refer to it as you do over there. How big of an engine? How big of an engine does this LB 6800 have? How big of an engine? So I'm going to look at the live chat, see what y'all are saying. Where was it made? How big of a motor? How big of an engine does this machine have? And it's probably going to have a fairly decent sized motor, because if you attach that fancy embroidery blah 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 to it that Susie pulled up a picture of for us, and you're going to be driving the functions of that embroidery kit, or whatever you'd call it, that embroidery extension attachment, you're going to have a little bit of power to not only push the machine, but then you also have to power that thing as well. And that's not really as much of a motor function as it is the electricity that's going to be feeding into that embroidery thingy. But yeah, you're going to have a fairly decent sized engine on this little motor, on this little machine. Fairly decent sized engine. Get a good drink of water here. I'm like running dry already. Oh, I like my Diet Coke. All of you know that. And funny enough, when Suzanne came recently to see her Lotus 1000, and she was in the workshop, I think all of you that follow faithfully, you know, Suzanne Coulter was in the workshop. She brought me, I didn't show it, I should have shown it, but she brought me like a 6-pack of these big bottles of Diet Coke. You know, not big bottles, they're probably about this size, you know, just to feed my frenzy when I'm in live streams. Yeah. All right. What do we have? Oh, hi to Amanda as well. Okay, now our friend okay, so JCSV must be from Brazil. Am I correct? Because I know that right now one of the leaders, I think it's Susie, is translating in Portuguese. And Portuguese we know is a language of Brazil. So maybe Susie can ask our friend, are they from Brazil, or are they from another Portuguese speaking country? I'd just be curious to know. Yeah, cool. All right. So the leaders have decided how they're going to give away some stuff while they're interacting with our friend from, I assume, and I shouldn't assume, but I assume that our friend is probably from Brazil, and communicating with us via Portuguese, by Portuguese. Yeah. So, all right. And you can also use Google. You can use Google Translate to type in the live chat in Portuguese too. I know that Emma has done that before. Emma's done that before with our friend Christine, I think it is. I haven't seen Christine for a while. All right, so let's do this. I'm going to show you the stitches. I took a picture of the stitches here on the front of the machine. We'll see if that shows up on the camera. And then you can pick out the stitches you want us to try to sew. You want me to try to sew. It was about, I'll show you, just totally something random and unrelated. It was about in the sun today in Oconto, according to my car, and I shared this with Emma and with Susie. It was 97 degrees here today, 97. And so I had to get ice cream. I had to get ice cream. And I had to eat it really, really quick. And if any of you like twist cones is where the machine dispenses chocolate and vanilla at the same time. And it creates a wonderful mix of the two flavors. That's what I had today, because it was 97 degrees. Probably the real temperature was in the 80s, but in the direct sunlight, it was almost 100 degrees here today. Crazy hot. Crazy, crazy hot. All right. Let's see here. I'll find it. Hold on. There it is. All right, so I'm going to show you these stitches that this machine has. Hopefully you'll be able to see it on the camera. Okay. Maybe not. Let me kind of do it like, I'll just hold it like this. Hoping you can see that. Hoping you can see that on your screen, depending on how you're viewing this live stream. But these are the built-in stitches that are on the front of the machine. It's probably easier to see it like this, but maybe not. Maybe I should just show you the front of the sewing machine. But if you want to write down on a piece of paper or otherwise note the stitch that's interesting to you, and we can try to sew it this evening on this live stream. Try back, get even closer here. I think I'm looking at the laptop and it looks like you can see that pretty clearly, but maybe not. All right. Boy, it's weirdly out of focus. There it is. Okay. So Susie just sent me a quick text saying JCSV is from Brazil. So, and again, if one of the leaders wants to go into Google Translate and just type in basically English to Portuguese, Portuguese to English, that way our friend can feel a little bit more comfortable. I don't know how we're communicating with them right now, unless they want us to communicate with them in English. That's fine as well. But anyway, I'll show you those stitches. I don't know if that little image that I have is really very helpful, but I'll show you the front of the machine as well, and that way you can potentially let's see, you can potentially look at these stitches on the machine, and maybe it'll be easy that way. I think that's fairly easy to see. I hope it is anyway. Hopefully that's fairly easy to see. Okay. So let's get into this a little bit. Let's get into this machine and see what we think. And again, it's a light duty machine. It does have, obviously, some of the innards are metal, but the outside of the machine and everything is plastic. So it's not designed for hardcore sewing. It's designed for light duty sewing. It'd be the easiest way to describe it. So let me get this cotton in place, and we'll see how this super universal needle does. See how it does. And I'm going to look at the live chat real quick, see if anybody picked out any stitches based on what I showed you. So we can check out the stitch quality of this machine so we see what we think. Oh, hello to Kathy. Hello to Renee. Hello to Kathy and Renee as well. I saw that they popped in. Hello to Amanda. I don't think I said hello to Amanda yet. Hello to Amanda as well. Amanda H. So does anyone, I'm not seeing anybody, I'm not seeing it that anybody picked any stitches. So maybe I'll just pick some stitches randomly. If there's none that are really catching your fancy that you want to see, then I'll just pick some of the stitches out, and we can see what this machine can do. See what this machine can do. But I'll show you the stitches one more time, and then you can oh, okay. So JC Esfie is from Brazil, and we can refer to JC Esfie as Joseph, and he manufactures footwear in Brazil. How cool is that? Actually manufacturing footwear over in Brazil. So we're probably, when you're manufacturing footwear, we're probably talking about some pretty heavy duty machines, light industrial machines, maybe even some commercial grade machines that are going to be able to go through multiple layers, hard surface layers of footwear for building those. Now, you remember our friend from Switzerland, Heidi, that we ended up presenting that FOF 332 for her. She's also making footwear in the Swiss Alps, but I think it's a lot lighter type footwear. It's not super heavy duty footwear that maybe Joseph is making over in Brazil. So, all right, let me show you. Thank you for sharing that, Susie. Let me show you the stitches one last time. And again, if people are not, I mean, it's in the evening. If you're not really wanting to chime in necessarily on choosing a stitch, that's okay. I'll just choose some stitches randomly. But these are some of the stitches, again, that this machine can do. So if you want to type one of these numbers into the live chat so that, I'll glance at the live chat and we can try that stitch that is interesting to you. We can go ahead and do that. Otherwise, I'll just pick some stitches. That's fine too. Okay, I think that's long enough. And I don't want to force you to have to pick a stitch. I just love to involve the audience. And if the audience wants to pick a stitch, specifically, feel free to do that. Feel free to do that. Okay, Candido and Emma, it looks like, pick some. Let me write these down real quick. Let's see here. Okay, so Emma is saying number 47. Emma's saying number 47. And Candido is saying 42, 36, and 63. I think that's 63. Yeah, and I only have the universal. Kathy had just put on there, watch your presser foot, because it does show you on the screen right up over here. You may not be able to see this because it's an LED screen, but right over here, it shows you the recommended presser foot attachment right there. It's having trouble focusing on the screen, but right on the top left-hand corner, it shows you the presser foot that you should ideally be using with the different stitch outputs. Most of these embroidery stitches should work just fine with a universal foot, but they do give you a preferred presser foot attachment depending on the stitch. Some of them are going to steer you towards a different type of presser foot attachment. We'll give it a go. We'll give it a go because I only have the one presser foot on the machine that the customer sent with the machine. I don't have a wide variety to pick from. I don't have a wide variety to pick from, unfortunately. Yeah. Yep. I hear what Kathy's. Oh, also hello to Teresa as well. Hello to Teresa. Yeah, I hear what Kathy's saying. And the machine does prompt you on the screen with a recommended presser foot attachment as you get into the higher numbers for the screen. We'll give it a go, and I can always hand turn it. Just make sure we're not going to make contact with this presser foot. But it's got a really wide throat plate opening on this machine, and the attachment that we have on the machine right now, I'll just show it to you close up. Let me shut the light off real quick. The attachment that I have on the machine right now is a general purpose attachment for this LB-6800, and it should accommodate the majority of the stitches that we might try. We'll be careful, but I think it'll handle most any stitch that we're going to be doing on this live stream. Hopefully. Yeah, hopefully. All right. Let's see here. Okay, so I see 47, 42, 36, 63. Kathy King is all over this. Kathy King is like on this hardcore. Do you have this machine, Kathy? Did you go to Sam's Club 6 years ago as well? Do you have this LB-6800? Because Kathy is expressing an intimacy with this machine that far outweighs what I have from the brief amount of time that I've spent with the machine in the workshop. I'm assuming that Kathy has this machine or has sewn on this machine before. I'm assuming that she has. So you have a lower model. It's going to be in the LB series. It's going to be an embroidery sewing type machine, but it's going to be a lower model than this one. It sounds like from what Kathy's saying, but they're going to share attributes, aren't they? They're going to share common ground. So yeah, let's see what happens. I mean, the worst case scenario, I've got a 9014 Schmetz super universal needle in here. The worst case scenario is we're going to break a needle. When I took this machine apart, there was some scarring on the throat plate. So maybe someone else made the same mistake that Kathy is highlighting for us. And something happened because there was definitely scarring on the throat plate on this machine. So I took some 2000 grit sandpaper and I took all of the rough spots off of the throat plate opening so that thread's not going to get caught. Hopefully we don't repeat that again. Otherwise I'll be doing some more maintenance on this before the customer ends up picking it up. Yeah, so Kathy's advice is decorative only. Decorative only. Decorative only. So from what Kathy is saying, we might have to cross off Candido's number 63. Number 63, any of those numbers that are in the 60s above the buttonhole area are potentially going to be embroidery type stitches that might require an embroidery foot. Is that kind of what you're saying, Kathy? The ones that are in this area right here. This area right here, 63, 4, 65, 66, 67. These are going to be stitches, maybe even some of these that are in the 50 series right here. Some of these that are in the 50 series right now. I only have this one presser foot attachment. Some of these I might not be able to execute. I might not be able to execute this with a standard universal type presser foot attachment. Now, some of these over here, 51, I think we can do 51, 52, 53. We might be able to pull off 54. Not sure about 55. But some of these down here in the 60 series, we might have to forego those because we only have the one presser foot attachment. Yeah, I'd rather not damage the machine. I just spent a lot of time getting it back to it's working really well right now. We don't want to break it again. Let's not break it again. Yeah, it's marked with a letter. So let's check that out real quick. They're so easy to take off. Hold on a second. Well, I've got bad news for you, Kathy. I got bad news for you. I'm going to look at it. I'm going to look at it with my magnifying glass. Kathy, I've got bad news for you, dear. Bad news for you, dear. There's no letter on it. I'll show you on the bottom. There is no letter on the bottom of this presser foot. Well, you know what? Kathy, let me say this to you. Let me say this to you, dear. Don't say sorry. Don't say sorry ever. Um, your concern, and your concern and thoughtfulness is exactly the quality that we would expect from our cow country family, looking out for each other. You know what I mean? But yeah, there's nothing on the bottom of this presser foot specifying the limitations of how we can use it on this machine. And it's the one that the customer sent with the machine. So I think it's going to handle most anything that we're going to expose the machine to. At least I hope so. Let me try to get it back into place here. This time of the day, my hands are not working as well. Let's see here. Okay, got it back in place. Yeah, and again, if you can't see it in the shot, I know you can't see it in the shot, but on most presser feet that I've used on machines, and all of you know this from going to the channel, I've handled pretty much, well, I shouldn't say that because there's so many machines that I've never had the opportunity to have in the workshop, but I've handled hundreds of different types of machines. And generally on a universal presser foot attachment like this, the throat plate opening is going to be about probably going to be about 2 to 3, no, probably less than that. It's probably going to be about 2 millimeters wide as far as allowing clearance for the needle movement, needle swing. This throat plate opening on this universal foot that the customer sent with a machine is probably close to, I would say it's almost 4 millimeters, 3 to 4 millimeters, close to 4 millimeters as far as its opening to accommodate the needle movement. So I think we're going to be in pretty good shape, but we are going to be cautious. And I really appreciate Kathy kind of saying, "Hey guys, be careful," because we don't want to do harm. It's almost like the Hippocratic oath for sewing machines. It's like the Hippocratic oath for sewing machines: do no harm, do no harm. So we don't want to harm Janice's machine, but I think we'll be in pretty good shape. We're going to start with Emma's stitch 47. We're going to do Candido's stitch 42. We're going to do Candido's stitch 36. And then I'm going to set the machine to stitch 63, but I'm going to hand turn it to see what the needle is doing and what the feed dogs are doing. So we can tell straight away if the clearance and opening on the throat plate on this attachment is going to be sufficient. Otherwise, we'll have to forego it. And Kathy King has done a very valuable thing for us in saying, hey, be careful, be careful. So, yeah. All right. All right, let's see here. And I think the leaders have given a contest parameter already. I have no idea what the contest is, but yeah, one of you is going to have an opportunity to win a pack of these super universal needles and also one of Susie's hats as well. All right, so let's go to 47. Let's go to 47. Let me get this material in place. We're going to go to stitch 47. Go to stitch 47 and we'll see. And I would love to show you the screen. I'm going to show you the front of the machine. 47 is going to be this stitch right here, just above my finger. So we're going to pick stitch 47. It's one of Emma's stitches right there. We'll see what that looks like. I'm going to go to the screen. I would show you the LED screen, but the camera just goes nuts. So I'll just kind of hold it like this. You see what the camera's doing because it's LCD or LED or whatever it is. It's a liquid crystal screen that the camera doesn't like. So LCD, I guess it would be, or something. All right, so let's go to 47. Okay, further. Still further. Too far. Okay, so you probably can't see it on the screen because this liquid crystal screen screws around with the camera. But this is the stitch that Emma picked right here, stitch number 47. Stitch number 47. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna be extra cautious. I'm gonna go ahead and turn the balance wheel a few times just to see what the needle is doing. And this is good advice whenever you're using a machine that you're not really intimate with, or if you're trying a different type of attachment. If you're trying a different type of attachment on one of the, and that's Emma, you're trying a different type of attachment on one of the machines that you have in your collection, always hand turn it first to see what that needle is doing in relation to clearing that opening on that attachment, whether it's an embroidery foot or whatever it is. You turn the balance wheel real slow and just see what what the clearance is, how it's reacting and everything. All right, let's see here. Oh, great. Congratulations. So Teresa, Emma was just sending me a note saying Teresa Henning is the winner. I have no idea what she did to win, but the leaders know what she did to win. So that's all that counts. And oh, cool. And Susie just sent a follow-up text saying she guessed, let's see. She guessed three of the three embroidery needle sizes that Schmetz recommends to use with their embroidery needle machines, presumably. Cool. Great question. Great question that the leaders came up with, and they just came up with it on the spur of the moment, just like that. So great job. So if Teresa would send me her address information, just text it to me. Susie or Emma or whoever can post my cell phone number and just privately send me your mailing information, I will send off a pack of these super universal needles that I just got from Wawak. And then when we do the unboxing of the hats that Susie just sent to the workshop, you'll have your pick of a hat as well. So I'll send you a pack of needles, the super universal needles. I'll also send you one of Susie's hats as well that are fresh off the press that she just made over in Minnesota. So all of you remember to remind me once we get through some of these stitches, please remind me before we end the live stream. We've got to open Susie's box and check out the latest hats that she just made over in Minnesota. But congratulations to Teresa Henning. Teresa Henning is the winner for today. And I'd love to get Teresa's feedback on what she thinks of these universal blah, 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 super duper pooper scooper needles that Schmetz just came out with. I better watch it because Schmetz follows us as well on Facebook and on YouTube. And if I start adding pooper scooper and everything else to their needles, yeah, they might send me a nasty note. So yeah. Anyway, they're called super universal natal needles or something like that. This is what they are. This is what Teresa just won. Yeah, and I'll be giving more of these away. I'll be giving more of these away in the future. Just like we'll be giving more of the Guggenheim professional tailoring scissors. We just gave a pair of these away. Matter of fact, one of my leadership team members, Susie, won it the last time, and I'll be giving another one of these away soon. Susie just got hers. If you do Facebook, check out the post of Susie with her Guggenheim professional tailoring scissors. But I'll be giving more of these away as well. They're valued at $50, so it's not a small thing to give away. But I know that our family members, the Cow Country family, is going to love these. So yeah, definitely keep watching. You know, again, we do these live streams usually on Tuesdays and on Saturdays, but we're pulling a whammy today, doing one on a Saturday evening. We're pulling a whammy and doing one on a Saturday evening. So this is this is the number 47 that Emma wanted to see. I'm going to be extra careful and just kind of turn the balance wheel a couple times. Make sure that we're getting good clearance. This is always good, always a best practice. If you're working with a machine that you're not intimately familiar with, it's not your machine. And I'm getting good clearance right now from stitch 47. So I'm going to go ahead and fire it up, and we'll do Emma's stitch first, number 47. And then we'll check out Candido stitches and make sure that we're able to execute those with this universal foot as well. All right, let's get number stitch 47 a try. And I'm going to try to bring you down to the action, and hopefully you'll be able to see what the machine is doing. All right, here we go. Trying to get the camera in the right position here. All right. Taking it really slow, really, really slow. Okay, we're getting good clearance. We've gone through a couple of cycles. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to bump up our speed now. I'm not going to go crazy because, again, this is not my machine. I'm going to go right about middle. And let's finish off this stitch for Emma. All right, here we go. All right, I'm going to stop right there. And you notice that we're in the needle down position because of the default that we set on the settings over here. That's the way the customer had it, so that's the way I'm going to leave it. And we just tap this button, and then our needle comes up for us. So we can remove the material. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut this material a little bit shorter just so I don't run out of bobbin thread. We'll do a nice stitch row, but we won't go quite as long as I was planning on doing originally. We'll go down to about this point. This again is Emma's stitch that she picked out. And I should mention real quick, I don't want to embarrass anybody, but Emma just had a birthday. So if you want to extend a birthday greeting to Emma kind of belatedly, she can tell you what day her birthday was this month. And next month on July 1st, Susie from Minnesota is having a birthday. So this coming, I think July 1st falls on a Saturday. So we'll be doing a live stream on Susie's birthday this coming Saturday. And I have no idea when Candido's birthday is. If Candido wants to just share the month and day, then we know when Candido's birthday is. And that's not just true of the leadership team member. If any of you are comfortable enough with the family that you want to let us know when your birthday is, the leaders will make note of that. And then we can acknowledge you if your birthday falls on a live stream day, even if it doesn't. You know, Emma's birthday's already come and gone, but we can still recognize her birthday and say happy birthday to her belatedly. Same thing of anyone in our Cow Country family. Birthdays are a big deal, celebrating the birth of that individual. So if anyone wants to share their birthday, we would love to acknowledge that and honor your birthday. Yeah. Yeah. I could have gone a little bit longer on this. I kind of wimped out. It didn't go as long as I could have. But I just don't want to run out of bobbin thread during our brief live stream. So I'm going to use my Guggenheim scissors, and I'm going to cut this off so that we can do a shorter stitch row than I originally planned. We'll stop right about there. And notice how these cut even all the way to the tip. Boom. Boom. Yeah, we'll check out Emma's stitch real quick and see what we think of it. This is the one that Emma picked. We'll call this her birthday stitch. This is her birthday stitch. Let's check it out. This again is stitch number 47. Stitch number 47 on this LB-6800. Really a groovy stitch, I think. It's really cool, isn't it? Lock stitch? No difference. Got a really nice balance right now. A really nice balance. And I don't know what your observation is, but this is the very first time on this channel that I'm presenting this super universal needle by Schmetz. What do you think of the stitch quality? I think it's doing a pretty fabulous job, but type in your own opinion in the live chat what you think of Emma's birthday stitch, the quality, the presentation, the clarity of the stitch spacing, the whole shebang. What you think of how this super universal needle is doing with Emma's birthday stitch. You get a closer view of it here, maybe. Yeah, really nice pick, Emma. I really like that stitch. It's really cool. Super duper cool. All right, let me get this back into place, and we will move on to Candido's stitch. And again, I'll show you the stitches in a little bit. If you're joining us late or you missed seeing the stitches before, I'd love to involve you. I love it when our audience, when our family members say, I really want to see that particular stitch. And the only cautionary note I'll say is that based on what Kathy King shared, having a similar machine, we're going to hand turn these initially and just make sure that we have proper clearance for whatever stitch you choose to make sure that we can actually safely execute it using the particular presser foot that I have available to me. Because again, we don't want to do any harm to the machine. We don't want to do any harm. Okay, I think I've got that pretty straight. Okay, so let's go on to Candido's stitch now. Candido had picked number 42. So we're going to go to number 42 now and see what we think of that one. And 42 is going to look something like, let me see if I can find 42 on the front of the machine to show you. 42 is going to be kind of like a bird stitch one. Yeah, I think it's this one right here, just above my finger. It almost looks like little bird feet. So if you see the 42 below that stitch, that's the one we're going to be doing next for Candido. Number 42. All right, let me see if I can find 42. Okay, I found 42. 42, let's see here. Oh, I'm wrong. I'm totally wrong. It's not the bird foot one. It's not the bird foot one. It's actually the one below it. Apparently that's the way the numbers are set up. Let's see. But this is the one it's showing me on the screen for 42. The one I just selected there. I don't know if you can see that on the screen at all. Yeah, you actually can. That's labeled 42, this one right here. And it gives you automatic defaults. This is our stitch width. It's giving us a width of 5.0. It's giving us a length of 4.0. I'm actually surprised the camera is showing that as clear as it is. I'm really kind of shocked. I'm really shocked that the camera, they've been doing some upgrades on this Razor camera that I use. And maybe they did some upgrades to accommodate LCD liquid crystal screens. Because I remember one machine I was trying to show you on the liquid crystal, it was a nightmare. You couldn't see anything. You couldn't see anything at all. So let's try Candido stitch now and see if it presents the way it does on the screen. I would only assume that it does. But first of all, we'll be extra cautious. I'll just give it a hand turn a couple of times. Make sure that we're getting proper clearance of the throat plate, proper clearance of the presser foot attachment that we're working with. It looks like we are. And this is a tri-motion stitch. I'm going to try to take you down to the action, because on this one, when it's sewing, the other stitch that we did for Emma, there was no tri-motion. It was feeding the material evenly as you normally would expect it to feed it. And then the needle was doing all the work. In this case, you're going to see the needle working, but you're also going to see the feed dogs manipulating the material back and forth with a tri-motion. Tri-motion means the feed dogs are moving like a dance, maybe 2 steps forward, 3 back, 3 steps forward, 4 back. It's hard to say, but I'll try to get you down there so you can see it doing its dance. Okay, here we go. I think it's going to do our dance. Hold on a second. Bring that needle up. Yeah, this stitch is not responding properly for some reason. This one is not responding properly. I may not have given it enough room to go back. I just tried doing this stitch number 42, but I think I set it too close to the top of the material. We'll try it one more time. This might be a no-go stitch as far as our, it's clearing the presser foot, so it should be okay. Let me try it one more time. Actually, you know what I'll do is I'll try it on one of our extra pieces of material over here. See if we can get it to work on this, and then we'll move over to our other material. I'm just going to offset it more than I did the first time. Let's try offsetting it. See if it will respond correctly. 5, 4. Okay, I just reset it again. All right, let's see if it responds this time. If it doesn't, we'll have to skip it. Let's see what happens. All right, I'm going to stop right there. Needle down, needle up. Yeah, that's what it was. With some of these tri-motion stitches, and this is a good lesson to learn by my mistake, I had set it way up close to the edge of the material up here. And what the pattern wanted to do is it wanted to go several steps backwards before going forward. I didn't give it enough room to work with. So we're going to try it again on this material, but I'm going to offset it a little bit more so that it has room to do its dance back and has enough room to operate. Because it is operating correctly. It just didn't have enough space. It didn't have enough space the way I had it set up the first time. So we're going to try it again. And so I know that was probably just Susie texting me or something, but give me a second. Give me just a second. All right, let's give this a try again. I'm going to clean off our edge a little bit. And that's the thing about a machine, as you're working with it, you'll discover things that you didn't know. As far as a particular stitch pattern requiring a little bit more range of motion to be able to execute its pattern properly. So we're going to try it again. I'm going to move it a little bit further down so that it has enough room to go backwards. Hopefully I give it enough space. All right, presser foot is down. I'm going to try it again, the same pattern again. This is Candido's pattern, number 42. Let me check that text message real quick. It sounded like, I think, Susie's notification. Oh, yeah. Well, welcome to, Susie was just alerting me that Jenny Folsom is in the live chat right now. I appointed her ambassador for needles at the last live stream. So I wish I had a special way, the leadership team gets a special little wrench to designate them as part of the leadership team members. If we have 3 leaders, we have Emma, Susie, and Candido in the live stream right now. If Jenny is open to it, the way to set her apart so that she stands out in the live chat would be to designate her a moderator with a special designation of being ambassador for needles. So if Jenny is open to becoming a moderator right on the spot, if the leadership team does not object, if any of the leaders object, then it's not going to happen. But if Candido approves of Jenny being appointed, if Susie approves, if Emma approves, if Christine were here, I think Christine is battling fires up in Canada right now. But if Christine were here, I'd want her input as well. But if Jenny's open to getting appointed, then we'll do it right now. And then she also has the special designation of being ambassador of needles as well. So what do you think, Jenny? Do you want to be part of the leadership team if the leaders approve? Candido says yes. Emma says yes. What about Susie? Did Susie already say yes? I missed it. If Susie said yes, and all three leaders present are saying yes, and then it's up to Jenny. Jenny might decline, and that's okay. Okay, Susie said yes. So it's up to Jenny now. If Jenny wants to be designated, I'll designate her right now. And then she'll have the additional designation of being our ambassador for needles. It doesn't require any special thing. You don't have to have a secret handshake. It's just a click of the button on my side as the administrator. So not seeing anything yet. All right. I don't want to put Jenny on the spot either. I don't want to put Jenny on the spot, but if Jenny wants to receive that designation, just if one of the leaders wants to text me, I want to get back to this stitch that Candido had picked. If Jenny wants it, we'll give it to her. If she doesn't want it, that's okay. She can just be an ambassador, and we'll just recognize her that way. That's cool too. That's totally cool. All right, let's try this again. This time I'm going to give it a little bit more of an offset. You can see I have the presser foot quite a bit further forward than I did the last time. So hopefully that'll be enough of an offset to allow this stitch to be executed. All right, here we go. I'm going to give us a little bit more speed because this is a really complex stitch. Move us up to about 3/4 speed. Whoa, slow down, buddy. That's a little bit too much speed. I went from a tortoise to a hyperactive rabbit. All right, I'm going to stop right there. Needle up. And I never answered my own question, and I apologize. I asked you before earlier in the live stream, and I know I never provided the answer because that's the way I am. And Emma kids around with me like that. She says, "You're a brilliant guy, Scott. You'll ask these great questions, but then you never go back and give us the answers." So where was this machine made? I don't know if we had any guesses, if anyone guessed about where it was made, but it was made in China 6 years ago when this was bought new at Sam's Club by Janice. It was manufactured in the country of China. Now, right away, some of you that are diehard vintage people, I haven't even come into the shot yet. Yep, there I am. So some of you that are diehard vintage people, right away you get like a prickly feeling. You get like a prickly feeling, and maybe almost like a tingle up your spine when I say China. When I say China, you know, this machine was made in China when Janice bought it 6 years ago at Sam's Club. Some of the stuff coming out of China, I'm just going to say it, it's not made well. It's not made well at all. It's borderline junk. But there's also some great stuff that comes out of China too. And I would say that I would put this machine in the category of a very good machine for the price range and for its duty class. Again, it's a light duty machine. For its class of being a light duty machine and the price range of what it would cost to buy a machine like this, and someone could Google it, type it in the live chat. I'm guessing around $300, $400, something like that. If you buy the embroidery extension thing that can go on this machine, you're going to add a couple $100 more to that probably. But the point is, there is quality that comes out of China too. I've been oohing and eyeing about the Guggenheim scissors that Susie just got a pair of over in Minnesota, and she loves them. Those were made in China too. Really, I'm serious. These scissors right here were made in China, and they've got a lifetime warranty. As a matter of fact, the Guggenheim people are so confident of these Chinese-made scissors that they say if you buy a pair of these, and you get them at your place, you try them in your sewing space, and you don't absolutely love them, they will let you keep the scissors and they'll give you a full refund. So it's a mixed bag of tricks, isn't it? There's some really crazy high quality stuff coming out of China, and that's partly their effort to try to convey to people, hey, wait a second, we do have a labor force that we don't have to pay as much, so we're able to make this stuff much more inexpensively. We're able to make it much more cheaply than in the United States. But we're also building stuff that's a lot better. We're building stuff a lot better, like this LB-6800 that Janice bought 6 years ago, or like these Guggenheim scissors that are also made in China. So the message I'm trying to deliver here is not everything that comes out of China is made poorly. These are a great example of well-made scissors, world-class scissors, in my opinion, professional tailoring scissors made in China, and this machine as well that was made in China also. And as far as the motor, it has a 0.67 amp motor. It has a 0.67 amp motor. Everybody's texting me at this point. Give me just a second, guys. Give me a second. It has a 0.67 amp motor. So it's going to peak at about 0.7 amps. So the motor strength, as far as the rating that they're giving to this LB-6800, is going to be comparable. It's going to be comparable to a Singer 201-2, which is going to usually come with a 0.6 or a 0.5 amp motor. Okay, I'm getting like a flurry of Texas here, not like Texas like the state, but text messages. So let me see what the leaders are really trying to get my attention right now and say, whoa, hello. So let me see what they need. Let me see what they're trying to bring to my attention. Well, Susie, she either did or she didn't, dear. Susie sent me a text saying, I think she said yes. I think she said yes. So yeah, if Jenny typed yes, then she typed yes. If she typed no, then she typed no. If she typed maybe or let me think about it, then she typed I'll think about it. So I'm going to look at the live chat myself and see what Jenny typed. And then Emma typed to me, Jenny said yes in caps. So I don't want to force Jenny to do anything. She's already the ambassador for needles. If she wants us to spontaneously and on the spot appoint her as a moderator, I'll do that. The leadership approves of it. And I'm going to look at the chat. If Jenny said yes, then we'll do it. If Jenny said maybe, then we're not going to do it. So let me see what happens. Hold on a second. Let me look at the live chat real quick. Jenny said yes. Susie did not take a nap today. She did not take a nap today. So the answer is yes. It's not, I think she said yes. It's yes. All right. So I'm going to do my magic on my end real quick. But first of all, I got to show you what we just did. Let me show this to you real quick, and then I will use my Wizard of Ocanto powers. I'll use my Wizard of Ocanto powers to officially appoint Jenny to our team. This is one that we initially sewed. I had it too close to the edge, way too close to the edge, and I wasn't able to execute the stitch. And I offset it, and then all of a sudden we're able to do it. Yeah, it's pretty good. It's pretty good, but I see a couple little spots. And maybe it's where I messed around with the speed. When you're doing a tri-motion stitch like this, you really don't want to be doing it super crazy fast, which is what I tried to do. You want to be patient, methodical, and allow those feed dogs to manipulate the material rapidly and also the needle swing as well. And so I might have done this to myself where it's a really good looking stitch, but there's a couple little anomalies because I goofed around with the speed. But all in all, a really, really good stitch that Candido picked. Yeah, all in all, it's a good looking stitch. It's not perfect. There's no such thing as a perfect stitch, duh. But it's all in all, it's pretty doggone cool. And that's stitch 42, stitch number 42 on this LB-6800. 42. Let me get the next stitch set up. 36, and then we'll move forward with the special ceremony where I'll probably even ring the bell, and then we'll make Jenny officially part of the leadership team and also our ambassador for needles. But let me get 36 set up first. It's 37. Okay, so 36 is the next one that Candido picked. It's going to look something like this right here. This is going to be stitch 36 on the screen. The one that's highlighted. The one that's highlighted is the 36 that Candido picked. So we're going to try that one next. Matter of fact, let me do that real quick, and then we'll move over to Jenny's ceremonial induction into the leadership team. And I'm looking at the stitch of 36. I don't see any problem with it not being able to be executed with this foot. So I'm just going to launch into it. I will offset it a little bit, though, just in case it's got a major tri-motion action to it. Okay, I think I have it in place. So let me do this stitch real quick, and then we will bring Jenny officially onto the leadership team, and she will have the special designation of being ambassador of needles. Ambassador of needles. Okay, I think I offset it enough. I hope I did. These are the two we've done so far. This one is okay, but it's a little bit muddied, and that could be a product of the speed that I was trying to do it at. These stitches you have to just take a little bit slower, so I'm going to slow myself down even more. And again, this needle we're using, we've never used it before, so we'll see. Yeah, okay, here we go. Almost got it. Hold on. Yep, it's a tri-motion. But I think I gave it enough room. I hope I did. I think I did. But that's way, I'm gonna doze off if we go that slow. I'm gonna bump it up just a little bit. There we go. That's a pretty good speed for tri-motion action. You can see the way it's manipulating the material. And obviously, ideally, we'd want to be using a smaller needle than a 9014, but I've got a 9014 in here. All right, I'm going to stop right there. Needle up. Let's check this one out. Yeah, it's kind of cool. It's kind of a cool one too. And again, I'm seeing a little bit, I probably should be using a smaller needle. Should be using a little bit of a smaller needle. I had a smaller needle when I did these off camera. I'll just show these to you real quick. They're kind of junky looking, but I did some of these off camera, and I was using a Schmetz size 80 needle. I didn't have a 7511. I had a size 80 needle, and it was executing these patterns, I think, better than this 9014 super universal needle is doing. So just take that into account, that the needle size, especially when you're doing embroidery decorative type stitching, should be more in the scale of 7511 or 8012, 80 size 12 or size 11. I'm just using a size 14, because that's the size that these super universals come in, as a size 14 or a size 16, and I wanted to try them out tonight. So just take into account we could get even better stitch quality and stitch definition with a smaller needle by Schmetz. See, these are some of the ones that were with a smaller needle. So don't fault the machine, and don't fault the needle either. I'm using this needle, size 14 needle, to do an application of embroidery and decorative stitching that isn't ideal. It's not ideal. Okay, let's see here. One extra little thread in the middle there. I'm going to clip that if I can get at that. Okay, so this is Candido's stitch number 36. Stitch number 36. There's one other little thread overlay right there. Let me cut that real quick. Like I said, it's not the ideal needle that I'm using. There we go. I just tidied it up a little bit. There's a couple little overlay spots. The needle is a little bit too big for this application, but I really, 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 really wanted to try it. So this is Candido's number 36 stitch on the bottom. It really looks more like a, almost like an overlock zigzag to me, or a stretch zigzag, almost like a stretch straight stitch, where it's laying down these overlay patterns on here. But a couple of them are a little bit sloppy because the needle we're using is not ideal. So just take that into account. The lock stitching is actually looking better, but I've got the upper tension turned up a little bit right now. So the other thing I'm going to adjust real quick, I didn't point it out when I walked you around the machine. This is our upper tension right here. And I've got it set on 7. The maximum is 9. The maximum is 9. I'm going to bump it down a little bit to give us a little bit more pull on that top stitch. Bump us right down to 6. So that's the other factor, along with the needle being a little bit too big, is our upper tension was probably a little bit too high, and that top stitch is not getting the clarity and definition because there's not enough pull down from that bobbin case below. So, matter of fact, with that adjustment, allow me real quick, if you would, allow me to stitch it one more time and just see what impact that has on that top stitch. I'm just curious. See if I got it right here. Now I'm trying to remember which way I had this facing. I think I had it facing like this. Yeah, the top stitch on this one was a little bit muddy too. Let's try it one more time real quick. I'm just curious to give this a go. All right. Tension is a big deal when it comes to the clarity of stitches too. Again, the ideal size for a needle on this type of sewing is going to be a 7511 or an 8012. And again, we're using a 9014, so it's not the ideal size. But with that tension adjustment, I think we're gonna see the cleanup of this stitch quite a bit. Yeah, you can see them markedly. This is actually a really good lesson of how tension also plays into the clarity of the stitch. We'll look at the one row where I had the upper tension too high, and it was stealing away the definition from that top stitch. Now I'll show you this one where we made an adjustment down from 7 to 6. The top row right here is the one we did for Candido the first time. The bottom row is the second one I just did, where we adjusted that upper tension. Look at the clarity of that stitch is dramatically better because that top stitch definition has enough pull down. See the difference? That top row right, some loosey-goosey stuff going on with that top stitch. It doesn't have the clarity of stitch. It doesn't have enough tension pulling down to give us the definition we want. We made a subtle adjustment, took it from 7 to 6 on the upper tension, and all of a sudden, look at that stitch pattern for Candido, stitch 36. All of a sudden, it's coming to life and saying, I can be beautiful. I just need the right tension balance. I need the right tension balance. See that? It's markedly better, just with a subtle tension adjustment. Even though our needle is a little bit too big, that tension adjustment all of a sudden pulled it into form very, very nicely. Hope you can see that. You look at the one on top, the first one, the one on the bottom is the second one. Dramatic difference. Truly is. Lock stitch. So we still have a good lock stitch, but we took a little bit of the definition away, didn't we? Just a tiny little bit of the definition away. Nothing dramatic, but the perfect setting might be 6.5. Yeah, I went down to just a little bit above 6. We're a little bit above 6 right now. We were all the way up at 7. And so we've taken some of our lock stitch definition away to give it to the top stitch. And we might have gone just a fraction of it, a fraction too far. Because you can still see we've got fairly good lock stitch definition. But we stole some of it away, didn't we? But what a difference we made for that top stitch by just making a subtle upper tension adjustment. So realize how important tension is. It's not just a matter of, I don't want to have bird nesting on the bottom of the material. It's also a matter of saying, I want clarity of stitch on top. Right here, I don't have it on that top row. Right here, I do. It's coming into form nicely. Yeah. Tension matters. Tension matters. It really does. Tension definitely matters. Okay. So let me focus on the screen now over by the laptop. Got to find there. Oops. Got to find Jenny real quick. So I'm going to make Jenny, because she's brand new, I'm going to make her a standard moderator. And a standard moderator is able to do a lot of things. You're able to review and remove chat messages. You're able to hide or put users in timeout. And as you spend more time with us, Jenny, I'll go ahead and make you a managing moderator. And there you'll have even more authority. And you can tell what authority you have once I click this button, because you'll go to the right of someone's name and you'll see those 3 little dots. And then you can see exactly what your powers are, your superpowers, like our super universal needle. You'll be able to see what your superpowers are as a moderating team member. Okay, so let me click it. And now the next time you see Jenny pop up in the live chat, you'll see that she has that little wrench now. So she's part of the leadership team. And we'll have to get your, eventually we'll have to get your email if that's okay. And then you can communicate with the other leaders. Some of the leaders feel comfortable enough with each other. They share each other's cell phones. That's not a requirement. But if you get to that comfort level, you can share your cell phone number with the other leaders and you can communicate that way, kind of like Emma and Candido and Susie are doing now. They've got each other's cell phones and they can use that as a way of communicating as well. So, but that's certainly not required. That's not required. Okay, so wait for Jenny to type something and then you'll see her coming up as a moderator now. All right. Let's try this other stitch that Candido had. We did 36. And now I'm going to try 63. I'll see if we can do 63. I don't know that we can do 63, but we'll see. Just making a little bit more of an adjustment on our upper tension. So let me check out 63 and see whether or not that's doable with this presser foot attachment. I don't know that it's going to be possible to do it. I have no idea what stitch 63 is. It's one of the ones that Candido picked. This is what it looks like on the machine. All the way down here, it looks like a straight stitch to me, but I'm sure it isn't. Maybe it's like maybe it's like a stretch straight stitch or something. You see that right there above my finger? I'm going to hand turn it, just see what it does. I have no idea what this stitch is going to do, to be honest with you. No idea. But it looks like it's a left needle position stitch. So I'm going to carefully turn it, and we'll just see if we have proper clearance, and then we'll give it a go. Give it a go. I think it's some sort of a straight stitch. I don't know why they have it all the way down there, because the other utility stitches are all the way on top. See, these are all the utility stitches up here. So I have no idea. We will give it a go and see what it does. See what it does. I didn't try this off camera, so I have no idea. Let's see what it does. Slow it down. It's like it's a straight stitch. I have no idea why it's on the bottom like that. That's so weird, because all it is it's a tiny little straight stitch. It's got this would be a kind of a default for quilters. It's 2.5 as far as the stitch length, and that's all it is a straight stitch. So I have no idea. I was expecting something like really jazzy or spectacular with tri-motion, but it's just a common quilter's straight stitch is what it is. Interesting. Like I said, I don't have the intimacy with this machine that obviously Janice would after having it for 6 years. I've only had it in the workshop for a brief amount of time. And I've got so many other machines I'm working with. Yeah, that's what we just sewed. I'm going to pull some other stitches as well, and we'll do some of the decorative ones to kind of goof around with those. But that's what we just did. Yeah, just a common, I mean, it's like you're putting quilt blocks together or something like that. Yeah, it's just a 2.5 length. So I'm going to grab, those are the only ones that I saw typed in the live chat. I'm going to go through and pull some other decorative stitches so we can enjoy really how cool this machine is in doing some of these decorative embroidery stitches. And then we'll move towards, wrapping this up, because it's after 10 o'clock. It's after 10 o'clock for our East Coast people like Candido and Emma and anyone else that's on the East Coast. It's already after 10 o'clock. So we need to wrap this up. Some of you might have things first thing in the morning, church, brunch, other things like that. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to cut this off, and we're going to lay down some other stitches and give this machine an opportunity to do a little bit of shining. As a matter of fact, why don't we do this? Why don't we pull some felt or some velvet into this? I didn't try this with velvet. We'll give it a try with velvet and see if we can lay down some decorative stitching on this velvet as well. All right, got that right there. Yeah, sorry about that, Candido. That's kind of like a plain stitch that we had as far as number 63, but that's okay. That's all good. Did Jenny jump back into the live chat yet so we can see her wrench? I didn't see her jump back in. Well, anyway, we'll see Jenny eventually with her wrench. And I've got to check Susie and Emma real quick to see if they should be, Susie and Emma should be, and Candido as well should be managing moderators. So they're going to have even additional authority and power. And so I might have to temporarily unmake them as a moderator to remake them as a managing moderator. Let me do that real quick. Give me just a second here. So Candido, just for fun, Candido, what I'm going to have you do real quick is I'm going to undo you as a moderator so that you'll present it in the live chat as a as another non-moderating team member, and then I'll redesignate you as a managing moderator. And so you'll want to, before I do that, go over to those three little dots, see what authority you have, and then you'll see additional authority go into your profile. Just take your mouse and pick any name on the screen and look at those three dots, see what choices you have, and then I'll make you a managing moderator and it'll give you even additional authority. So, yep, there's Jenny. Jenny popped up. So I'm going to undo Candido real quick, and then I'm going to reassign him as a managing moderator. Okay, so Candido, go ahead and type something in the live chat if you would. Type anything in the live chat. You can put an emoji in there. You'll see that you're not a moderator. And then, because I have to take you out as a moderator, and then I have to reassign you as a managing moderator, secondly. So you see Candido right now, hello all, not a moderator. Now I'm going to change that. I'll make him a managing moderator. Okay, so Candido now is a managing moderator. It gives you additional something. I don't know. You can look at the three dots now, Candido, and then I'll do the same thing with Emma and Susie real quick, and then we'll finish off sewing on some of this velvet and then wrap things up because it's getting really late for our East Coast people. All right. Now I'm going to take Emma out. So Emma, go ahead and type something in the live chat, please. You can type anything in the live chat, Emma, just emoji or hello or greetings from Florida. I think Emma fell asleep. Okay, so Emma just typed hello. No designation as moderator. But I have to do this because I think I had Emma and Susie as standard moderators, and I wanted them to be managing moderators, gives them greater authority. And so now I have to redesignate Emma as a managing moderator. Give me just a second. Okay, so Emma is now a managing moderator, and I think I saw someone wants me to do stitch number 50. Just give me 1 second with that. I think it was Teresa. And a reminder to Teresa, make sure you text me your name, address, information, etc., so I can get those needles heading to you. And we still have to do Susie's unboxing real quick as well. Okay, and then I have to do Susie as well. Where's Susie? Susie hasn't typed anything for a while, so I've got to scroll up and find her. So let's see here. Yeah, Emma's knighted again. And you guys can tell me, the managing moderators can tell me what additional authority. I think it's something like with keywords and other things like that, you get additional magic wands or something. So I just undid Susie. So if Susie types something in the live chat. Yep, just hello. She's not a moderator. Now I'm going to make her a managing moderator. It's getting too late for me to talk. I'm going to make Susie a managing moderator now. Okay, so now, and once Christine comes back, Christine has been with us for a while. Right now, she's a standard moderator. I'll have to remind me to make Christine from Canada a managing moderator. So right now in our live chat, right now in our live stream, we've got 3 managing moderators, and then Jenny just joining us as a rookie, even though she's an ambassador for Needles. Jenny is a standard moderator, so she can kind of look and see what she's able to do when she puts her mouse over someone's name with those 3 little dots. You can see what authority you have, and then the other moderators can see what authority they have now that they didn't have before. Somehow that makes sense. I know it does. Okay, so let me see what stitch 50 is. No, I'm not going to do stitch 50. That's a buttonhole. Teresa, I'm going to mail you coal instead of mailing you the cool needles. Teresa tried to pull a quick one and say, do stitch number 50, which is a buttonhole. I'm not going to do that. No way. There's all kinds of buttonholes on this machine, though. There's a ton of different buttonhole options for people that like to do buttonholes. I don't. So anyway, let me pick another decorative stitch to lay down on this velvet. Hold on a second. Let me see what I can find. That was slick, Teresa. Nice job, kiddo. Nice job. All right, I'm going to repeat one that I did off camera because I think it's kind of cool. It's the star one. Let me do that one on this velvet. See how it manages that. Okay, so we're going to do a star one now. I'll start it out, and then I'll try to bring you down by the action. So hold on a second. I'm going to speed it up just a little bit. All right. I like this one. It's almost like a little starburst thing or something. Not like the candy. Not like the candy starburst. And again, I could go faster with this, but because of the tri-motion manipulating the material, we're going to get distortion of stitch if I try to go too fast, because it's not only manipulating the material, but also the needle swaying in conjunction. We got to take it a little bit slower than we would want to. A little bit slower, especially using a larger needle. All right, so I'm going to stop right there, bring our needle up, and we'll check this one out on velvet. Yeah, Susie and Emma and Candido will have to let me know what additional authority they have on there. So here I'm seeing something interesting. Here I'm seeing where, remember, I kind of backed off that upper tension, and but on this particular tri-motion stitch, we need a little bit more upper tension. You'll see what I mean when we look at that lock stitch. So we would have to look at increasing our upper tension again to do this particular stitch. There's not enough pull. Our top stitch looks really, really good. This is our top stitch on this velvet. Again, ideally we want a smaller needle. 7511, 8012 would be ideal. But we got some good balance. But look at our lock stitch now. It's going to be a little bit too weak. It doesn't have enough definition. The stitching is too loose. The stitching is a little bit too loose, and that's a product of we're not getting enough pull up from that upper tension. I backed it off. We should have been up around 7, 6.5 to 7, and then we'd have some really good balance. You look at the two, lock stitch, top stitch. This is overly defined right now, and it's taken away definition from the lock stitch. So that's an easy thing to solve. We just have to bump up our upper tension to get better clarity of stitch. So I'll do another decorative one. But first of all, I'm going to adjust this a little bit up to accommodate for a decorative stitch. It's going to have that tri-motion. Bring it up to right about there. We didn't change it much. We just brought it up a little bit. Maybe one more little click. Just below 7. Just below 7. Now I'll pick another decorative stitch that's going to be similar to this, and we'll see if we can give, just like we did on that other stitch. Remember, we had that other one, the contrast. Where was it? Yeah, I think it was this one. We had the contrast between not enough pull down for the top stitch, and then we ran it again on this one, and we all of a sudden got better definition on that. So tension plays a big role when you're trying to do decorative, ornamental type stitching. It plays a really big role. And if you're just doing a one-off, sometimes you nail it, sometimes you don't. But as you get more accustomed to the machine, as you understand the machine better and the demands of that stitch pattern, you'll be able to find the right tension balances for that. And the screen, at least on this LB-6800, it doesn't give us recommended settings as far as tension. Some sewing machines will do that. This one doesn't. So we have to kind of spitball it a little bit to get that right balance point. Okay, so I'm going to pick another one. Let's see what we have here. Oh, this is kind of a cool one. This is going to be the birdfoot one that I thought Candido would pick before, but he didn't. Oh, this is actually really cool too. Stitch. No, we already did that one. That was on Candido's list, 36. Never mind. Let's see here. This is always a fun one. It's kind of the eyebrow stitch. I'll do the eyebrow stitch. There's so many to pick from. Okay. I'm going to do the eyebrow one on this velvet now. And I did adjust the tension a little bit, so hopefully we'll get a good balance. We'll get a good balance with the lock and the top stitch. And this is not a tri-motion stitch, so I'm going to take it just a little bit faster, especially as the time is getting really late. And again, we're showing 2 layers of velvet back to back. Definitely on the thinner side of sew-offs. And this LB-6800 has auto presser foot adjustment. So depending on the stitch you're doing, it will decide how much pressure is going down against that material. I like to have control over that, but the machine has control over it now. So that's all well and good, right? We got to trust the machine right now. Trust the force, Luke. Trust the force. Okay, I'm going to stop right there. Needle up. Let's see what we think of this one. It's kind of an eyebrow stitch, isn't it? I think it's called a crescent, isn't it? I think the official name for this stitch is called the crescent. Almost like crescent roll, but it's not a, you can't eat it. Yeah, we're getting better on the balance. I saw that this one was weak, so we adjusted that stitch, that upper tension. We bumped, where are we? There we are. We adjusted that upper tension up just a little bit again, because we were getting a weaker looking lock stitch. And now we just did this crescent stitch, I think it's called. And we're getting some better balance back again. This is the one we just did. So our top stitching is really, really looking good. On this particular machine, we've got to do a little bit more work in getting that lock stitch to be balanced without stealing away too much from the top stitch. And you remember when we looked at the lock stitch for this one over here, the Starburst one or whatever it is, our lock stitch on this stitch over here was really muddied. It was way too loose. We didn't have enough upper tension because I had backed it off. Now when we turn it over, we look at that crescent, it's not as complex of a stitch because it doesn't have tri-motion, but I think you'll see that the balance is much better since we adjusted that upper tension. So there's our top stitch and our lock stitch. Still a little bit loose. So we're getting a little bit more emphasis on that top stitch, but I think with a little bit more adjustment, we could tighten that up very nicely. Still just a subtle bit of imbalance. Here we've got a really spot on page 34 top stitch. And here we've got a borderline page 34 because we don't have quite enough clarity of stitch. That upper tension was turned back too far. And even when I adjusted it up, I'm still not high enough up on this to give it quite enough. It's pretty doggone good, but this first one we did definitely needs more adjustment. Yeah. And velvet's a little tricky to sew, isn't it? It's a little bit tricky to sew. All right, one more stitch line and then we'll wrap this up. There's so much more we could do with this machine, but it's getting so late. I want to be sensitive to, especially the folks on the East Coast. Check on a message real quick here. Hold on a second. And I'm still not hearing anything from Christine from Canada. She's been off the radar for a couple days. So any of you leaders that have a way to reach her, maybe by email, maybe send her a note after the live stream or tomorrow, and we can find out how she's doing. Okay, yep. That was a totally unrelated text, something else. Okay, something has nothing to do with what we're doing. It's somebody else texting me some information, so I won't worry about it. Okay. Yeah. You know what I'll do one more on velvet. I'll do one more stitch on velvet. So See if I can pick one out that's interesting. 26 has my curiosity. 26 is really, I don't know what to think of 26. Let me show you what it looks like. We're going to be right there. The camera might not focus on it. There it is. 26 is, I think it's this one right here. Let's see, 16. Yeah, it should be this one right here. It almost looks like I don't know what to think of that one. I don't even know if we can do that with the presser foot attachment I have, but hopefully you can see that a little bit. Almost looks like the shape of a bear or something like that. Let me try that one real quick. We'll hand turn it first just to make sure that we can clear. 26. Well, that was easy. I got to that right away. All right, I'm going to hand turn it just to see if we can clear it. This would be a fun one to lay down on. Velvet, I think. See what's happening with this. Just making sure we're clearing. Make sure we're clearing. Yeah, I think we'll clear fine on this. Let's try this one. I'm curious to see what it looks like, because on the screen, you probably couldn't even see that. Let me see if I can pull it up on my phone real quick and show you 26. I think it's 26. Let's see here. Yep, there it is. This is the one I'm curious about right here. It's going to be that one right there. Almost looks like a puzzle piece or something. You see that? The one right above it is pretty cool too. I think that's going to be number 16. Maybe we'll do number 16 on velvet, and then we'll wrap this up. But I'm going to try this one. It looks like it's clearing fine. We'll give it a go and see what we think of that one. Let me see if I get the camera down there, get that in position first. All right, let's give this a go. Yeah, this is going to be a tri-motion too. This is a very complex stitch, very complex. Let's see what this one looks. This one really has my curiosity. I'm just curious to see. Oh, wow, that's very different, isn't it? I would love for someone to come up with a name for this stitch. Someone comes up with a name for this. My first reaction is it looks like a puzzle piece or something. Kind of looks like a puzzle piece. It's really quite interesting. The top stitch was maintained well. Yeah, we did better. We made that little additional adjustment, and our lock stitch, at least with this tri-motion stitch, they're all going to be different depending on how much movement of the feed dogs, etc. But this one came out much better as far as a good stitch balance. This is the one what would you call this stitch? What would you call this? It's very interesting, isn't it? It's very, very interesting. Now let's look at the lock stitch. We did much better in maintaining balance on this particular pattern. Has tri-motion, has needle swing, and it came out with a lot better clarity than some of the other tri-motion stitches did. This is our lock stitch right here. And now that I'm looking at that crescent again, it's not bad. It's still a page 34 crescent on the lock stitch, but you know what I mean. We can always make it better. You can always make it better. Yeah, that's a cool stitch. Very cool stitch. One last stitch. One last stitch. Boy, am I sewing crooked tonight. It's probably because it's later. And I wanted to do that one just above it that I showed you. So we just did this one, which is, whoops. We just did this one, which is 26. It's a really funky one right there. One that I'm touching right there in the middle. I'd like to do this one above now, the crisscross one, which is stitch number 16, this one right here. One I have right in the middle there. We did this one, and now we can do this one maybe. Kind of like a tic-tac-toe thing. That'll be a good way to wrap it up. And this will be a tricky one. We might have to bump up that upper tension a little bit just to make sure that we get a good lock stitch out of that, because it's going to be stretching between those needle strike points quite a distance. Let's see what we get. Number 16 now. Okay, so I've got 16 selected. This is what it looks like on the screen. I don't know if you'll be able to see it or not. That's stitch 16 that's highlighted. And you can see it's automatically choosing our width. It's choosing our width and our length. It's got our width at 4.0, which is almost at the maximum. And it's got our stitch length at 4.0 as well. So that's where we're going to get into a tricky situation in maintaining the balance, because it's going to be those strike points of the needle, almost like a bridge between the support points. It's going to be really wide and very long, wide and long. So I don't know. I'm inclined to leave it where it's at, because otherwise I'm going to steal away from the top stitch. We'll leave it just below 7, and we'll see what we get. See what we get. Okay. And I hope I'm not too close to the edge, because this is going to be going back a little bit. Let's see how much it goes back. Oh yeah, we're good. We're good. Let's see what this one looks like. Yeah, again, it takes a little while to figure it out, you know, as far as getting that balance when you're dealing with decorative stitches like this and tri-motion and everything else. I think we're still finally finding that sweet spot just below 7 on the upper tension, and it's going to give us a good balance between that top stitch and that lock stitch. I think it's going to give us a fairly good balance. Let's take a look at this. Wait. Oh, that's this side. This side. Here we go. And again, take into account we're using a 90-14 needle. And we're using this brand new needle. I've never used it before. This super universal needle. Yeah, we definitely have nailed the top stitch part. We definitely have nailed the top stitch part. If you look at all those rows. Now over to the lock stitch. It's our lock stitching. Yeah, other than this one on top, where we got a loose lock stitch because of that particular formation, all the other ones, we got a really good balance. Very rapidly, we got a very good balance between the top and the lock stitch. This is the only one that we'd have to make some additional adjustments on, so we could tighten up that lock stitch, give it better definition, but at the same time not steal away from that top stitch. It's that tug of war. It's that balance where you adjust one, it affects the other. You just don't want to affect the other too much. Otherwise, you're battling back and forth trying to get just the right sweet spot. And these are difficult stitches to balance sometimes because of all the factors and how they're generated. The feed dog manipulation through tri-motion, the needle swing rapidly in multiple directions. There's a lot that can happen to the tautness and the tension of that thread as it's laying down that very complex stitch. Yeah, I think overall, uh, I think we enjoyed some really good success with this tonight. Some really, really good success. Uh, are there any other? I'll show you the stitches one last time as far as decorative. If there's any last minute, hey, I'd really like to see this stitch, I'll show it to you one last time. Otherwise, we're going to wrap this up. I might do one more stitch off on cotton, but other than that, we're going to wrap it up. And again, don't ask me to do a buttonhole. Don't ask me to do a buttonhole. We don't have the right foot for it anyway. And if you're trying to pick a number, the number is going to be below. The number is going to be below the stitch. The number below the stitch is the one that correlates to the stitch, if that makes sense. Okay. Oh, I like that. Cookie. Teresa had come up with the name Cookie Cutter Stitch. That's kind of a fun name, isn't it? Kind of reminds you of that, doesn't it? A cookie cutter stitch. So I don't see anybody else picking a stitch, so I'm going to grab another stitch. We'll lay it down on this cotton because I sewed so crooked on the velvet. I don't think we have any space left on that. Let's see what we can come up with real quick. I'm just going to look at the stitches and grab a couple stitches. Matter of fact, I'll probably repeat that one again. Number 50. Yeah, I'll try to do this one more time. I'll do this on cotton this time. This is the same one that we struggled with getting that balance on this one. That lock stitch was much looser than we wanted it compared to the top stitch. Let's see if I can do this stitch one more time on cotton. I made a little bit of an adjustment on the upper tension. And we'll just do this stitch one more time and then consider it done. Consider the deal done. So we repeated that stitch one more time. See how we did as far as the balance this time. Again, we bumped up the upper tension just a little bit. And we are sewing on a different material. This is 100% cotton with a stiffener, whereas we were sewing here on velvet, 2 layers of velvet. But I really wanted to finish off the live stream with being able to repeat this stitch and get a good outcome, get a good balance to show you that it's a matter of adjusting based on material and based on also the speed as well that you're sewing at, but just trying to get a good balance between the two. And I think we did that. It's a good way to wrap it up. And I don't know what you would call this stitch. This is our top stitch. Some really, really nice presentation, good clarity of stitch there. And now if you remember the way we were battling it the last time, this is what we got on the velvet. This is what we got on the velvet as far as that lodge. And that strictly is a tension issue right there. If you ever get that on one of your sew-offs and you're looking at that, you're going, what's wrong with my machine? It's a matter of there's not enough upper tension to tighten that thread up on that velvet. We need more upper tension. And that's why we got that muddied look on here. Now, if you compare it to what we just did, and I know it's a different material, but this is what we got on the cotton as far as the lock stitch. Again, we bumped it up to 7. We were down around 6 something. We bumped it up to 7, but we didn't lose anything. This is our lock stitch. We didn't lose anything on the top stitch because as I turn it around, that's our top stitch. Well, that's it, folks. We could do so much more with this LB-6800. Again, it's a light-duty sewing machine. It's a light-duty sewing machine. It's not designed for heavy-duty sewing. And Susie, if you'll forgive me, it's so late. It's so late, and I saw Candido on East Coast time. He had to step away. If you'll allow me, let's do the unboxing of your hats. Let's do the unboxing of your hats at the next live stream, which will be Tuesday. Just a couple days from now, we'll do your unboxing of the hats on Tuesday, and we'll wrap it up for the evening now with this Brother LB-6800. But again, as you get to know the machine better and you do a certain stitch pattern, you'll know where to set that tension to get that good balance, because the machine will take care of everything else. It's going to manage presser foot pressure. It's going to manage stitch width. It's going to manage stitch length. And it's going to give you all of those parameters preset. All you'll have to decide is that tension balance up here adjusting so you can get a good stitch output. Emma, I know that's you texting me. Give me just a second, dear. Okay. But thank you again to Janice for giving me the opportunity to get this machine back on track. It's obviously not skipping stitches. It's not having the other issues it was having before. It's a very happy machine. You just have to know how to use a machine like this and not push it too far, because it's designed for light duty, not the heavy duty stuff we usually do with our vintage sewing machines. Okay, so that's it. I'll put on a little bit of music to wrap us up. I'll check out Emma's text message, and y'all have a great evening. Thank you so much for hanging in there as we started to get acquainted with this machine a little bit. We didn't do a whole lot. We did some velvet. We did cotton in a variety of different forms, and that's about it. That's about all we did on this LB-6800. And this is really what this machine is good at, is the lighter sew-offs, the velvets, the silks, the satins, and cotton material as well. So take care, everybody. I'll end us with some Oriental music, since this is a Chinese-made Brothers sewing machine. All right, that's it, folks. Good night. God bless. Next live stream should be on Tuesday morning around 9:30 Central Time. And again, any of you that are on the East Coast, thank you so much for hanging in there for such a late live stream. You are troopers, all of you. Take care. Have a great night and a good night's rest. God bless.